Let's go. We're really in 2019. It's crazy. Like, I literally, like, looked down at my phone today. It said January 1st, 2019. And I was like, wow, we're really here. So, I know some of y'all saw my video yesterday. My number one tip to crush 2019. Since I know, like, a lot of my community is based off, is from, like, the NoFap community. So, I'm going to give y'all something because there's new, especially around this time, we got a bunch of new guys jumping into the NoFap train probably. I don't know, but I just want to go ahead and make this video because I've made videos similar to it in the past, but I feel like this would be really good insight for those that have started off and maybe some of those that are like, you know what, no, this is going to be the year I get NoFap down. So I was like, you know what, I'm going to make a video for these guys. So I took this completely from the perspective of, like, if I was to do this all over again, what would I do to ensure that, like, I held it, you know? Like, if I relapsed today just because, and I had to hold a streak again, how would I do it, right? So, I got 6 of them. I'm going to go through them, and then hopefully this is going to help you out in starting off your streak and being able to hold it for 30, 60, 90. And the whole reason because some people have hit me in the past for this, where they're like, yo, you should stop marketing 90 days as a magic number. It's not so much a magic number, and I know some people say don't count days at all, and it really is just what works for you. If counting days helps reinforce you to go further, it does for me sometimes, then do that. If counting days holds you back, stop counting days. It's completely up to you. So I don't enforce anything on that policy. You do what you want there. At the end of the day, it's really just what helps keep you going, because that's what this is going to be about. So, tip number 1 is very simple. Jump right onto it. If you haven't masturbated today, don't masturbate at all today, and go the next 7 days without masturbating. I'm dead serious. Like, and of course, easier said than done, but the best thing you can do right now is just to jump on it. If you're wasting time watching a bunch of tip videos, alright, you know, I'm going to get all these tips, I'm going to figure out exactly what I'm going to do, and then I'm going to go NoFap. No. You're better off watching those videos and already being on the fucking train, right? And plus, there's more of a sense of, I don't knock you if you watch the videos, obviously. I did similar things. It helps give a sense of relatability and doesn't make the process as hard. So if you're going to do that, that's fine. But just recognize that the most important thing you can do right now is just get on the fucking train. Just make that first day happen, right? Get off of NoFap. Now, I mean, get on NoFap, get off porn, get off masturbation, all that, right? So that's number 1 tip, like, just get off. Number 2, this is an interesting one. So I'm just going to read it. The first 7 days sets the tone. It's the hardest week you might possibly have. Always harder to get a streak going than it is to keep it going. So, I really gave this some thought, and I was like, you know what? Because, like, this year, actually, I was like a year and I think 5 months in, I think. I can't really remember specifically. And I relapsed, and I remembered how I kind of slowly started to fall back into the rut, and I realized kind of how hard it was to get me back on track, and I realized something, I gave it some thought today, I was like, it's the first fucking week, dude. And I really I was like, if you can take the first 7 days by the balls, you're on a good foot. So I really, you know, and that's kind of going to be the premise of this video. Your first week is your most important one, in my opinion. Like, you're going to have hard days and probably even harder days. Like, right, like tomorrow I'll be 6 months on NoFap. And just yesterday, I had some pretty strong urges. But none of it even compares to when it comes down to that first week. For those who have tried streaks before, you know what I'm talking about if you've made it through there. It's hard as hell to get a streak going. I don't know what it is. It's just the urges are so much stronger. You're so much more okay with fucking up than you are when you're 30 days and 60 days in. You're like, there's no way I'm going to fuck up. Like, I've come too far. That first week, it's easy to kind of bail out on yourself. So that's why I say those first 7 days, crucial. So understand that they're going to be the hardest. Like I said, you've had harder days, but I don't think you will have a harder week than the first one. Right? Getting that streak going is the most important thing you can really worry about. Once you're on it, now you got to really worry about how can I hold this for 7 days. That's the big thing, you know. So that's my advice for that. Just recognize that that first week is going to be the hardest one, and if you can really get your mind right with these next few tips I'm going to give you, it'll really help you out in just conquering it, okay? I'm not going to repeat too much longer on that. Number 3, this is a big one. Eliminate all lust-filled / evoking things from your life. Anything that is going to evoke a lust-filled response from you, okay? If you're like porn, so you need to get away from porn as far as possible. You need to really cut access to it or really get your mind right to avoid going to porn. Same thing with Instagram. This is a common one. A lot of people don't think about this, but you'll literally be scrolling through Instagram and you don't realize it. You're already following like 10 models, giving you the little poses and stuff, and it might not trigger you at the moment, but it can really factor into you getting triggered later, and then bam, you can't control it, and then you're relapsing. So remove as much as you can. Get the lingerie. If you got sex toys, I'm just taking this to another level, but still, like, whatever it is that evokes that lust-filled response within you, get it out. Get it out. If you are subscribing to lust, unsubscribe. Okay? And later back, whatever it is that is lust-filled in your life, just put it out. Just get it away. Okay? Especially in that first week, because you're not as controlled in that first week to be able to look at like me, I could probably look at a lust-filled picture now and it will, it'll get me some energy, but because I've gotten so far into the streak and I've mastered my energy a little more, right? I've mastered that control over it. It doesn't get me as much, right? So when it happens, it doesn't take me over. Not really the case though in the first week. So that's why it's very important that you remove that from your life. And I would even say for the first whole month, really just for the rest of your life, but not for the rest of your life, but you get what I'm saying. For as long as you decide to do this for. You don't need to be subscribing to that and letting it have power over you. All right. Number 4, this is a big one. So now that we've got you, off the train, we got you on the train, you know that the first week's going to be the hardest, and now you know that you need to start unsubscribing from lust. What's going to happen if you get an urge regardless? Use that energy. Okay? What I have written, So, look, when the urges start to hit, when the temptations, when the fantasies, when all that starts to come to mind, very simply, you literally could just go outside and go take a walk. Right? And the hardest thing about this isn't even so much just knowing it, but it's more so executing it, right? Because when that urge happens, you have an option. Or, right? You leave it. You basically say no to the urge. You got to say no to it. When it rises up in your body and it happens and it hits, you got to be able to say, no, I'm not doing this. I'm not going to give in. I'm not going to bust nuts. None of that. I'm going to see if I'm recording. I'm like, all right, I was scared that I wasn't for some reason. But you got to be able to say no. You got to be able to put it off. My best advice to you is as soon as an urge comes up, as soon as temptations, as soon as that sexual energy, you feel your dick getting hard, you feel like, oh, I want to fuck something or I want to go let loose, that's the peak of your energy right there. So that's when you need to go do the hard things about your day. That's when you need to go hit a workout. That's when you need to go, like for me, when I used to get urges, I would go write my script. You know, and I could bang out pages in that case. I really could. When, or if you're a YouTuber, you know, you go do a video when you get an urge, right? Whatever it is, just do anything to get away from the urge. Say no to the urge. Do anything to get away from the urge, and allow yourself to use that energy to drive you towards the other activities, because that energy is going to factor in and it's going to assist in doing those other things. But you don't realize it too, and this is kind of the same concept with intermittent fasting. When you have that urge going like that, what you're, right, like, you don't want to be thinking about being hungry. So what are you going to do? You're going to try and occupy your time as much as you can to take your mind off of the fact that you're hungry until the time that you get to eat again. And then what happens? You realize how much you've actually done. This is one of the reasons I got on intermittent fasting again, because I realized this with the Baha'i fast, and I was like, shit, I'm gonna do it. Same thing with NoFap. Whenever that happens, you activate it. You feel that sexual energy, and then you fucking get to work on something. Do something. Anything else but taking that hand and rubbing it down. Anything else but that. Or, some people are like, well, I guess I could just look at a pic. Don't do that. Don't break rule number 3. Remove yourself from that lust-filled environment. Okay? So, that's that tip there. Okay? Then, yeah. So just whenever that sexual energy rises up, learn to use it. Learn to redirect it in the flow of productivity and, keeping yourself occupied, right? Number 5, this is a big one. And this kind of correlates to what I was just saying a second ago. Give yourself no excuse to look at porn or bust a nut. And this is an even bigger one, even sex. I would seriously recommend, if you're going to do NoFap, for the first 7 days, do not have sex. If you have a partner, you're probably going to want to communicate that to them. That you're going to go 7 days without busting a nut. It needs to happen, And I know some people are like, well, sex isn't even bad. Yes, I agree. But the reason why I recommend you go without sex for those first 7 days is because I want you to grasp a complete hold on your sexual energy. You know what I mean? I want you to completely be able to control it for 7 days and be able to hold that, right? If you allow yourself to have sex, you don't completely grasp the whole thing. Therefore, it still makes it pretty easy, and you're still pretty soft-minded to go relapse. In comparison to if you buckle down and got your mind right, you could have that control, right? So give yourself no excuse. Give yourself no excuse. I don't care if you're like, I guess I could look at it. It's been 90 days. I guess I earned it, right? Don't get soft-minded. Don't think that. Don't give yourself any fucking any reason that you even think is okay to look at porn. Don't. Don't even accept it. Any reason or invitation you may receive from something from here or here out here. Any invitation that gives you that, oh, maybe I could go just rub it down a bit, but I won't bust, right? Do not give yourself an excuse to even participate in porn, masturbation, or orgasm, especially for those first 7 days. I really advise not having sex. I really advise it. And if you're not in a relationship, this is the perfect time to get into NoFap and really have a control over your sexual energy, which leads me into point 6. Buckle down and keep a strong mind. You own your sexual energy. It does not own you. That's what you tell yourself. You have the control. Yeah, I think so. Yeah. You determine what happens with this energy, not the other way around. The sexual energy does not determine what happens with you. You determine what happens with it. So when it gets up, when it starts to arise in you, you have the control to determine what's going to happen. You have the control to say, you're going to ejaculate, or you're not going to ejaculate. You're going to have the power to be able to say, I am not going to give my seed up, or I will give my seed up, but it will be completely under your power. Do you understand that? It will be completely under your ability. You have the control. You got to really buckle down and get your mind right and just stay disciplined. You got to have the willpower. And that's really where it comes down to you. Like, all these tips will work, and you might not get it. You might not get 7 days the first couple times, but you keep trying it. You keep buckling down. You keep giving it shots and using these tips and any other tips that you might find useful, right? You buckle down and get your fucking mind right, and you have the willpower to control your sexual energy. It does not fucking own you, bro. Does not own you. My sexual energy does not own me. When I get an urge, or for, you know, I mean, I'm really trying to get to a point where a girl can't even, like, seduce me. You know what I mean? And, like, she can't cause me, she can't break me, right? She won't be able to break me. I have full control of that. I have full control of my sexual energy. That's where you gotta be. Like, you gotta tell that to yourself every day. I have, or when those urges come up, I have full control of my sexual energy. It does not have control of me. I determine what happens with it, not the other way around. You tell yourself that every fucking day for those 7 days while putting this shit to the test. I guarantee you, at some point you're gonna hit 7 days. But it really comes down to willpower, man. It comes down to having comes down to having a very strong-willed mind. And this is a great way to train yourself to have a strong-willed mind if you want to do it. So, those are my 6 tips. I know the video is long, so I'm going to end it right now. And I get back to y'all when I have another topic ready to go and load up another video. Let's kick off 2019 with a bang, and let's fucking get it. Booyah.